Good morning, students from the Jamaica School of Preaching and Biblical Studies. One new student from Haiti that arrived yesterday, and all those that are watching on YouTube at this time or will be watching later for the saved version of this lesson. This is Introduction to Biblical Hebrew at the Jamaica School of Preaching and Biblical Studies. I am Brother Leslie Joseph Buckland Jr., one of the lecturers here. We're going to be reviewing the test that was just done on interrogative pronouns, and I'm going to be handing back the test papers that have already been marked to the students, and then we will begin to look at the questions and discuss them. So this time I'll be handing out the answer paper back to the students. So let me bring the PowerPoint up. Okay, that's the PowerPoint. All right, so here is a discussion of test number 3, interrogative pronouns. The first question is, define interrogative pronouns. And the answer is, these are words that ask questions. Questions like who, or what. The word interrogative is an adjective that describes pronouns such who, whom, and what, which are used to ask questions. Any question on number 1? Number 2, write who in Hebrew. Well, the answer is simply me. Those are the English letters on the screen, but the Hebrew is mem followed by yod and the tarik underneath the mem, which make the long vowel long tarik, pronounced me. Number 3, write whom in Hebrew. It is the same me. So the same word me in Hebrew may be translated either as who or whom. Any question on number 2 or number 3? Number 4, which word is used in place of the subject noun? Who or whom? Well, the subject pronoun, which is used in place of the subject noun, is the interrogative pronoun who. Number 5, which word is used in place of the object noun? Is it who or whom? The answer is whom. Any question on that? Number 6, write what in Hebrew? Ma, or mem followed by hey. Number 7, when is what in Hebrew given the symbol of the short a vowel, patha? The answer is when it is used with consonants other than gutturals and resh. You may call them ordinary consonants, like Beth, Gimel, Dalet, Waw, Zayin, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, etc. Any question on number 7? Number 8, when is another time what in Hebrew is given the symbol of the short a vowel, patha? The answer is when used before the letter he or the letter keth. Any question on that? Number 9. When is what in Hebrew given the symbol of the long A vowel, chametz A? The answer is when it is used before the letters Aleph and Resh. Any question on that? Number 10. When is what in Hebrew given the symbol of the short E vowel, segol? The answer is when it is used before a guttural letter that has chametz A or the long A sound underneath. Any question on that? It was really a matter of looking at the rules governing the vowels that are placed under mem in the interrogative pronoun ma, and it really required a lot of study. The reason why I don't test you over more than one grammatical lesson at one time is because I know that each lesson takes a lot of energy from your mind to remember it. Okay. Well, we're going on to another Hebrew lesson. So let me take that off the screen and put the other one on. Well, this is the one I want. Okay, we're looking at lesson 22, a continuation of that lesson. And we're looking at practice of nouns in absolute and construct states. General objectives are: 1, to practice translating sentences with nouns in their absolute and construct states. And number 2, to review lesson 22, nouns in absolute and construct states. So specific objectives: number 1, at the end of this lesson, the students will have practiced translating 7 sentences with nouns in their absolute and construct states. 2, at the end of this lesson, the students will have reviewed lesson 22, nouns in absolute and construct states, in preparation for test number 4, which is next week Thursday, which is, I believe that is Thursday, November 7th. Okay, let me quickly go through this. All right, number 1 is Halak Hanavi El Hekal Amelech. This is the prophet walked onto the palace of the king. Now notice this is in what you call the construct state of the noun. Here is the noun meaning palace. The word is Hekal. And notice that there is a makef that joins Hekal to Hamelech. This further explains whose palace this is. This is the palace of the king, or the king's palace. Hekal does not stand by itself, so it's dependent on Hamelech to complete its meaning. When words depend upon other words to complete their meaning, they're said to be in the construct state. They're dependent on or relying on other words to explain or describe them. Number 2, Hara Melech Mitzrayim El Moshe. This is the king of Egypt called unto Moses. Now notice Melech again is in the construct state. There is a makef that joins it to the word Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim means Egypt. And because when you're talking about the name of a country, it is already going to be a definite a definite noun. So in the English translation, you put the king and not simply a king. Now, the words in the construct state never have the definite article in the Hebrew. If you want to make them definite, you put the definite article beside the word that is describing them. But there is no definite article placed before this country, Mitzrayim, because all proper nouns, names of persons, places, or things, are by nature definite and don't need a definite article in Hebrew to make them definite. Haya koshek be'eretz Mitzrayim. There was darkness in the land of Egypt. Okay, so notice this is in the construct state. It's not just Eretz, but Be'eretz Mitzrayim. This is the land of Egypt. Darkness was in the land of Egypt. Notice the makef that joins Eretz to Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim completes the meaning of Eretz. It's not just the land, but it is the land of Egypt.
Sir,
Yeah.
before we move on, in the second sentence, the verb is kara.
Yeah, the word kara, that's the word kara, which means to call. Kara means to call. Yes. Number 4, Livnei Yisrael Haya Or. Li is two, it's an inseparable preposition. Bene is in the construct state, it is from banim, meaning sons. And in the construct state, you have it like this. Instead of the a, you have the e, and instead of the neem or the im, you have a. So livne, there is no dagish lene in here because it is preceded by a vowel and the dagish lene disappears. This is in the construct state. Notice the makef joining B'nai to Yisrael. Yisrael is telling who these people are. These are the sons or the children of Israel. Haya or, meaning there was light. To the sons of Israel there was light. Number 5, Lo Shama Ha'am El Divrei HaNevi'im, meaning the people hearkened or listened, the people did not hearken or listen unto the words of the prophets. Notice that this is a construct chain. This is a series of words that are dependent on the last word, ha-nevi'im. This is in the construct state. Notice el, divrei, and divrei in particular is the plural construct of devarim, which means words. Divrei, and it tells you whose words. It's the words of the prophet. The people did not hearken unto the words of the prophets. Diberu b'shem Adonai. I should have doubled the B because this is no, I'm wrong about that. This is a Dutch letter, so it can stay as it is. Alright, so Diberu b'shem Adonai. This means, I don't think I even translated it. It means they spoke in the name of the Lord. This is in the construct state. This is the word shame, which means name. This is an inseparable preposition that means in. It is attached to Adonai, the name of the Lord. Okay? So this is the name of the Lord. This tells you whose name it is. Lo shami'u B'nai Yisrael Bekol Adonai. The sons of Israel did not hearken unto the voice of the Lord. Again, this is in the construct state. It's dependent on this word to explain it. And you can see the construct state here. Instead of banim, you have b'nai, and this word here explains the relationship of the sons. They are sons of Israel. The sons of Israel did not hear the voice of the Lord.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So in Hebrew,
Yes.
we have those two dagesh are Lenny or
It's Lenny. It's Lenny. It's ordinarily in the word deber, which means he spoke. This is the third person plural of deber, to speak. Yeah, it is a Lenny. It doesn't double it.
what about the first one? No, the same word. The same also.
Where is it? Here?
No. Before the Dalet.
Oh, this is a number 6.
No, not this. The first letter, Dalet.
Yeah, Dalit is also Dagesh Lenny.
No. So since I see the read, so the vowel under the daggers, so
Yeah.
I think we would have not have the daggers name in bed, so I don't know.
Oh,
Just because of
yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You wouldn't have it ordinarily. All right, so apparently this is a forte, because there's a doubling of this, and this is why you can have the simple shua here. The shortening of the simple shua on the dalet is because two simple shuas cannot stand together. Okay. Yeah, thank you. All right, so I should have doubled this here. It's supposed to be 2 beats. Good. Okay, now I'm preparing you for the next test. And what you are seeing is what you need to focus on in the lesson number 22, nouns and their absolute and construct states. The first thing is to know the meaning of absolute. When you're looking at absolute, a noun in its absolute state, the word absolute is or means when a word does not need another word to add to its meaning or to complete its meaning, and it can stand by itself without having to depend on another word. It is said to be in an absolute state. Absolute means it is independent. Maybe that will be better understandable. It is independent. It is not relying on some other word to explain what this word is. It stands alone, by itself. Here are examples of nouns in their absolute states. I've underlined them. Notice that there is no word that comes after ish to tell you anything more about ish. It stands by itself. Hu ish means he is a man, but it doesn't say anything further about the man. All you know is that he is a man. It's in the absolute state, it's independent. It doesn't take any other word or words to complete its meaning. So remember this example. Hu ish, he is a man. He isha, she is a woman. Again, Isha is in its absolute state. It's independent. It doesn't tell you whose woman or wife she is. All it says is she is a woman, and that's the end of it. So it's in its absolute or independent state. It needs no further word to complete its meaning. Number 3, hu'ak. He is a brother. Again, it doesn't tell you whose brother he is. It doesn't tell you anything further about brother. Brother stands by itself. It's in its absolute state. Number 4, he akoth. She is a sister. Again, we're not told whose sister she is. It stands by itself. Construct. You need to know what a construct noun means, a noun in its construct state. When a word needs one or more words to complete its meaning, this word is in the construct state. This is symbolized by a horizontal line called a makaf, placed to the upper left of the word so that this word is bound or tied to the other word which completes its meaning. The makaf followed by another word which completes the meaning of the first word should be translated as of whatever word comes after the makaf. So construct is the opposite of absolute. Absolute is independent. Construct is dependent, relying on some word or words to tell you more about that word. Here are examples of words in the construct state. Hu, ish, Elohim. Now, ish is no longer in its absolute state because it is depending on another word that follows the makaf to explain who the man is. Hu, ish, Elohim. He is a man of God. So he's not just a man. He's a man of God. In the Old Testament, this would mean he's a prophet of God. Number 2, he, Eshet Ha'aka. She is the wife or the woman of Adam. Now, Isha changes its form to Eshet when it is in the construct state, followed by a makaf. She's not just an Isha, she is Eshet Ha'aka. She is the wife of the man, or she's the wife of Adam. So it tells you whose wife she is. It's not just wife, but now she is dependent on Ha'atham to complete her meaning. Whose wife is she? Here are some more examples of words in the construct. Hu Aki Dawid. He is a brother of David, not just a brother, but a brother of David. He Akoth Dawid. She is a sister of David, not just a sister. So, prepare for test number 4, nouns in their absolute and construct states. You can actually use this PowerPoint to prepare for it. It will be given next Thursday, November 7, God willing. And what I've shown you in that short overview, I haven't shown you everything. I've only shown you what you need to know for the test. That's what I've focused on. And it's summed up in these 5 sentences. Number 1, know the meanings of absolute and of construct. 2, know the examples of nouns and their absolute state. 3, know the examples of nouns and their construct state. 4, be able to recognize nouns in their absolute state. 5, be able to recognize nouns in their construct state. By recognize, I mean this. You will not have to write it, but you will have to know it well enough that when you see it on the screen, you know that's it. That's it right there. You know it is absolute or you know it is construct. So you know it well enough to recognize it. That's what I mean by recognize. You know it by looking at it, but you're not writing it, but you must know it well enough to recognize whether this noun is in its absolute form or this or that noun is in its construct form. Okay, any question on the preparation for next week's test? All right. Okay, thank you for your participation and congratulations to Maxime, who scored 100% on the test that was just done. In fact, he gave more answers than what was needed, but his answers were correct. He provided examples for his answers, and they were all correct. If you therefore find that I still don't understand interrogative pronouns, how did I get this wrong? Ask Maxime. He will help you to understand it better. Okay, so if you still have a difficulty with interrogative pronouns, you can ask him. Don't feel ashamed to ask another student for help. He has the advantage over me in that he can speak more than one language. He can speak English and he can speak French. So if you don't fully understand what I've said in English, he will be able to help you understand it by speaking to you in French or in French Creole. Any question? I'm going to give you, well, it's just the third year students, Robin and Orain. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes so you can come back at 11:46. It's now 11:36. You can come back at 11:46.